o'clock hour. At about an hour from right now, we will have the schedule release show on the SEC network. That is coming, and you will see the entire 2024 conference schedule. That is year one for Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC. And so everybody anxious to find out who they're playing and where they are playing them. You're not gonna know when, not like when on the calendar or when on the clock. You're not going to know which TV network or which TV, who the announcers are going to be for the individual games, but you will know who you're playing and where you're playing them. And if you were listening to Sports Talk Mississippi 20 minutes ago and you're an Ole Miss fan or a Mississippi State fan, you already know. So let's recap. We'll start with Mississippi State's schedule. Home games in 2024 for the Bulldogs against Texas A&M, Arkansas, Florida, and Missouri. When's the last time Florida was in Starkville?
Dan Mullen's return.
Dan Mullen's first year.
Okay. It hasn't been that long. But No.
That's why I thought Florida and Tennessee would swap here.
Yeah.
Because it's been so long since they've been to Florida, and it's been so long since Tennessee was here. But go ahead.
But instead, it's another year without a trip to Gainesville for Mississippi State. So home games, A&M, Arkansas, Florida, and Missouri. The road games for Mississippi State, Egg Bowls in Oxford that year. Got to go to Athens, so a return to Sanford Stadium for Mississippi State. Got to go to Knoxville, headed to Rocky Top, and got to go to Austin. So headed to the University of Texas in year one in the league for the Longhorns.
Can I expense a 10-gallon Stetson and some ostrich boots, you think?
No, but you can buy them.
Well, if you turn that into content,
really.
Maybe. So if you record yourself buying
there would be
and
content.
all that stuff, then maybe you could spin it
there would
as,
be a lot of content. Absolutely.
Always be thinking about
absolutely.
content, and you can expense anything, or at least
That's
I haven't tried that yet.
So Borky, I
haven't tried
appreciate
that
the
yet,
optimism. I appreciate that. Richard over there, he's just sticking the mud.
Would you wear the ostrich boots beyond that one weekend? Like, what if that became your thing, Dad?
I don't know, man. Ostrich, as much as those things are probably going to cost, I probably would like to wear them more than once. Yes.
What if you turned into a boot guy? I mean, I think all you got to do is decide.
It's never too late. Yeah.
Are your feet wider than normal? You got wide feet.
No, I actually have very narrow feet.
Oh, really?
I have narrow feet.
So you don't necessarily have to get custom.
No, I should be able to buy off the shelf. Richard's thinking.
I
don't like it when Richard thinks.
I got thoughts going through my mind.
The wheels are turning.
They were yes.
Introducing Genteel boots.
Maybe not Genteel. We'll work on that.
Although they'd probably be, if they got into the boots game, they would be the most comfortable boots.
They'd be super comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Feels like you really have to commit to boots.
My next Genteel purchase has got to be a hat, by the way. I'm in need of a new hat, and so I've been looking at them the last couple of days. I'm going to pull the trigger on one here soon.
Mike in Oxford says that head would take a 20-gallon hat.
I do have a big dome.
I think the boots could work, hey, Dad. The lid, I'm not so sure about. We'll see. We will see. All right, Ole Miss's schedule for next year, in case you missed it just a little while ago. Egg Bowl at home, so that's Mississippi State in Oxford. Georgia in Oxford. Kentucky in Oxford. Oklahoma, first year in the SEC, making the trip to North Mississippi.
The Kentucky thing is interesting.
By the way, local retailers rejoice.
Yeah,
with that home schedule, just saying.
The Kentucky one's interesting because they just played at Ole Miss last year.
They did.
And so that clearly, when they
Great
made this
atmosphere.
model, it was not a factor, though. I mean, maybe it was a little bit, but they didn't take that into account for every game because Kentucky just played at Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is not going back to Kentucky before Kentucky has to go to Oxford again.
Missouri and Florida have been to Starkville more recently than State has been to either one of those. So, at
LSU, at Arkansas, so that series just kind of stays in the rotation that it's been in, at Florida, at South Carolina. So for Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, and Arkansas are the only three regular opponents that are staying on the normal cycle. Now, it feels like Georgia is because Ole Miss is at Georgia this year, and then Georgia will come to Oxford the following year. But I think that's just happenstance. So in terms of Western Division opponents that Ole Miss plays every single year, they will continue on the same cycle with the Egg Bowl, with it being in Oxford. And then the road trips to Baton Rouge and Fayetteville are on the same cycle that they have currently been on. For Mississippi State,
same with A&M and
Arkansas and Ole Miss.
Yeah, and it's the same cycle. State is at Arkansas and A&M this year, so next year they will have them at home.
But will they? Because we might have the 3+6 by then. So this
that's true.
There's a chance this is just a one-off. The interesting.
I think this is a one-off schedule. This absolutely is a one-year schedule.
Beautiful.
This is not the start of a rotation, and I mean, for example.
So then that would beg the question: Are your other two permanents already on your schedule and you just don't know it yet?
Don't know.
That's bad news for Ole Miss because Vanderbilt's not on there.
It is.
Interesting. Continue.
Well, no, I was just going to say, the example would be just because Mississippi State goes to Texas in 2024 does not mean that Texas is coming to Starkville in 2025. It does not necessarily mean that Oklahoma is coming to Starkville in 2025. This is a standalone.
Mississippi State's permanent. I'm going to lose it. They took Alabama off just to give us Georgia every year.
Oh, man.
I mean, if we know the 2025 schedule and Georgia is a permanent for State, I can't be around Sankey when we do that interview at Many Days. I'm going to have to be in a different room. Just be like, what are you doing?
It's a computer-generated model, hey, Dad.
I doubt it. Somebody had to hit the on button. Somebody had to hit print.
Yeah. So what questions do you have going into tonight's show? When you think about the league as a whole, what questions do you have?
I don't know if it's questions as much as I'm really curious to know how, at least my perception of balance these are. I want to look at each schedule and from my perception, think that they are all about equal. And I would love to know the rationale for how they decided this. I wonder if anybody's going to get a chance to answer, hey, how did you come up with it? What was your model? What did you do? That's what I'm most curious about tonight.
Hunter Yurachek says that he got an early peek.
Hold on.
No, that's a fake.
That's a fake.
The athletic director at Arkansas would not tweet that out before the announcement. Wouldn't do it.
No, that wouldn't happen.
That is Oh, no. Hold on. If you see he replied to himself, it's for softball.
Oh, okay.
He trolled. Good job, Hunter Yurachek. I appreciate the troll. That's a good job.
Sports Talk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm.
Really
That's your.
By the way, about the road games for Ole Miss is what kind of state are the programs going to be in at that point? Those are buzzsaws to play in terms of just general atmosphere on an annual basis, but Arkansas hasn't exactly taken that step forward yet. What if they roll out another 6-6 this year? Florida fans already want Billy Napier fired. There's not a high expectation for this team this year. What's South Carolina going to look like? Because they had those two big wins at the end of the year, but it's not like they were some kind of world beater up until then.
They're recruiting well.
They are recruiting well. And I expect LSU to continue to be very good because it's LSU and Brian Kelly, despite the family is a heck of a football coach with all the resources in the world.
Yeah, they'll be fine. Yeah.
I'll be fine. But the other three, what kind of state will those programs be in when you go there to otherwise brutally difficult environments?
I mean, what's going to be the state of Ole Miss and Mississippi State's program?
No idea.
We don't
State's
know exactly.
State's replacing a ton next year. A ton. They have a ton of seniors.
Yeah, but you had them winning 10, so no big deal.
I did not have them winning 10.
You did. You were like, oh, that's a winnable road game. That's a winnable road game.
I said it's
those are
winnable.
Infinitely winnable games at home. Those four. Hey, they're going 4-0.
My whole life. My whole life has been State losing winnable games. All right, that's been my entire existence. State losing winnable games.
Okay.
So, real quick,
we walked through that schedule, and you're like, oh, all four of those are winnable at home. I mean, probably get two.
They're
of those.
winnable. They're winnable games. Anyway, if this tweet is accurate, I don't know, but this will be the first year since 1951 that State doesn't play Auburn, Alabama, LSU all in the same season.
Auburn, Alabama, LSU, all in the same season.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how much more consistent Mississippi State has been with playing Auburn and Alabama going back to the 50s in comparison to Ole Miss? Because Johnny Vaught and Bear Bryant, no. Johnny Vaught and Bear Bryant didn't want to play each other. They thought, what was the point?
That's the official line I'm going with anyway.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, Bear Bryant was more than happy to play Mississippi State through the 50s and 60s.
Well, yeah, because they're terrible. They're awful back then.
It's kind of the point. Kind of the point. Interesting.